Yeah, I figured you're probably pretty, even if you didn't have rankings, you're pretty qualified to be able to talk about all this shit. So.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. One way or another. It's funny though, because at a certain age, they do all tend to kind of blend together.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's going through them all. I'm like, man, this is a little harder than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. Once you get to like 20, like 23 range, like that's
Yeah.
where you're gonna be like, all right, well, there's this one, and then there's like ones that pop big time,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like 30, like
Oh,
you know what I mean. But then you
That's way
start
up
working
there.
20, like 21, 22, 23, like pretty much 21 to 27, 28.
Yeah.
They all kind of mash together, and then that weird part where like, wait, was that one Shawn and Taker, or was that Shawn and was that Triple H and Taker?
Yep.
Was it like, because there's those
And then
marquee matches?
Cena main evented like 4 in a row. It's like it was him and Triple H, and then him and Michaels, and yeah. All right, let's see. Getting this tweet out here.
Tweeting.
Live. Was also parked next to a Nissan Rogue at Dunkin' Donuts, so that was something.
Man, you're parking next to a
Big old
Nissan
Rogue.
You found the dungeon. You're living large there.
I saw another Kevin Sullivan sign the other day, a much smaller one, but
I just added a Sullivan to the collection here. You see that right there in the yeah.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Yeah, next to Kamala and the Zodiac and the Shark.
He got the whole dungeon.
Almost there.
I'll have to hit up that building, see if maybe the rest of them are down there.
You should. I would check the basement.
Yeah. Let's see. Discussing and ranking WrestleMania. WrestleMania. Paste. Tweet. Now the whole copy. Send it to all these fucking groups.
I'm gonna leave the group. Good.
Get the fuck out
of here.
We never want to see you again, Sullivan.
I would be so great if in those groups you could just you could have a master fucking my son, leave.
Leave this group forever.
Okay, Dad. Man.
Okay, Dad.
When I was so fucking horny when they had Karrion Kross talking to Sullivan. Did you see that?
No.
They did a like a vignette, and it was Karrion Kross, and he's walking up with to like this church, and Sullivan comes out, and he's dressed as like a religious official, and I was like, oh hell yes, I'm in. Like, just don't care where they're going. If it's Sullivan and Kross, it's amazing, and I'm sold. Get me t-shirts. Get me fucking cups. Get me flags. I don't care what it is.
Has Sullivan been on a WrestleMania?
No.
I was like, I didn't think so. I was thinking about that as I was kind of going through these. Like, what was his time like in WWF, if at all?
Yeah. Wait, run that by me one more time.
Kevin Sullivan, in WWF, what was his involvement, if any? Because I don't really know.
I don't know that he ever had any involvement. I mean, I could be wrong. To my recollection, even with that deal they did with Kross was probably within the last 6-8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it was just a one shot. He's a Florida guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
It's so good, man. He comes out and Sullivan is Karrion Kross's father.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, and that Scarlett shows up, and I was like, it's gonna happen. They're gonna bring the dungeon back, and it's gonna be like Sully's now the master, and Kross is the new task, and I'm like my mind was just.
I'm the master now.
They made me the master.
I don't know what to do. I've been doing commercial real estate in Louisville.
So
help.
So it blew my mind away. So as far as I don't know that he does anything with them outside of this deal, or if it was a one-shot thing. But boy, if they would have brought the dungeon to NXT or even like anywhere in the, just give me the dungeon, man. Just give it to me.
2023 Dungeon of Doom. Could you imagine?
Well, at a certain point, you have to reset, right? You can only do the same thing for so long, so you got to hit that reset button. Bring back the dungeon.
Well, now that we've hit the record button, I guess. Hey, we're live.
Hey,
welcome. I called this the Loaf Lounge just because I needed a name, and Loaf is a nickname that I've gone by in some circles. Simple as Brett, bread, loaf.
Oh,
pretty fun. But anyway, I mentioned to you, this is kind of our first Brainbuster Boys YouTube exclusive. So as of now, this won't be audio. This will just be us with our pretty faces, and you, unfortunately, with a shirt on because was hoping that you wouldn't. But
I was thinking about doing the whole thing nude, but again, you said it was going to be on the YT and not the P Hub. So
yeah.
That'd be an exclusive.
Oh yeah,
Brainbuster Boys live on the P Hub.
Yeah. Well, are you familiar with Matt Ritter and Smacking It Raw? Maybe
very.
Like his whole thing is he puts his podcasts on YouTube or on Pornhub, and it's like #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub is like part of his gimmick. So
genius.
Technically, I have been live on Pornhub because I was on his show one time. But hey, I guess I got to introduce you here. Right. I am with handsome Kevin of the Year of Duke and Rogue, Gorilla Brain Wrestling Pods, and officially now the Shining Wizards podcast. And I guess I got to give it to you the right way. Kevin Rogue.
Kevin Rogue. Yeah, man. Well, thank you. That's a hell of an intro, man. Hell of an intro.
Well, I've been excited to mix it up with you again recently because it's been a minute, and I know we've talked about a few things, but this was one that worked here at I guess 10 a.m. your time here in the Central Time Zone on a Saturday morning. So I'm getting ready. Bo and I are going to Indianapolis after this for Wrestle Arts 8. And we're going to have some interview segments that are going to be edited into the show. So that's going to be very exciting. Yeah, I know you've certainly got plenty of indie wrestling, and you're a manager experience. So I guess before we really dive into these WrestleManias, talk about old JJ Rogue and everything you've had going on recently.
Oh boy, so JJ Rogue, it's who my character is, I guess you would say. On the indie scene, I am a manager. I've been referred to as the wealthiest manager. I've been referred to as the most dangerous manager. I've been also called some very, very foul things by fans. So
probably fans of Downtown P.D. Brown, right?
That's exactly it too. So I manage if you want to do a quick backstory here, I broke in actually with P.D. Brown. Mm-hmm. I was P.D. Brown's manager, and I dropped that sad sack of shit as quickly as I could. Got aligned with the program, which at the time consisted of Nick the Natural Nelson, the Monumental Monster Stonehenge, and Kyle Pro. And just recently, I had to do a little recast of the program, and Kyle Pro might have got himself a little bit of a plow. And
Kyle no longer part of the pro.
Right? Exactly, man. We namesake and all that.
And what's the promotion you're a part of?
I work with AWF.
Okay.
Yep. So we actually got TV here in Minnesota. We're live, or not live, but our show runs every Saturday. So it's kind of cool. Like Duke had mentioned, he's like, you kind of went full circle. You went from watching Saturday morning wrestling to being on a Saturday morning wrestling show. So it's been awesome, man. I really, really love being part of the promotion.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And speaking of Saturday morning, that I basically kind of started watching wrestling WCW Saturday mornings. As I mentioned to you, I grew up without cable, so that was like the only thing I knew about when I was 7, 8 years old. My brother was kind of steering the ship. But another thing that got me into wrestling was WrestleManias, specifically 1 through 13, because my brother's friend had like the box set of VHS tapes, 1 through 13, that we would just borrow it. And I'm like 9 years old, and I would just watch them over and over and over. And that's like how I really, really became a big fan as a kid. So granted, some of those are not very good, and some of those 1 through 13s are going to be right near the bottom here, but some of them are amazing and have some of my best memories. So, yeah, I guess anything you want to kind of get out about just WrestleManias in general, you coming up as a wrestling fan before we really dig in here?
Yeah, I mean, like you had mentioned that wrestling box set, which
Yep.
was that box set was so fun,
was gold,
so fun. Oh yeah, absolute gold. When it comes to WrestleMania, the thing about it is when I was younger, I guess I didn't really fully understand. Right now, when you're talking like WrestleMania 4, 5, 6, and I think by 7, I really started to understand like this is the big thing, right? Yep. This is huge, and the spectacle that it's become. Like it wasn't until like WrestleMania 20-ish that I realized like not even casual fans, people that aren't everyday fans will take the time to watch WrestleMania. So at that point it really clicked, like this really is the Super Bowl of wrestling, because people that don't watch football will watch the Super Bowl. Yes. People that don't necessarily watch wrestling will still tune in to WrestleMania. Like that's how big it's become, and I love it. I hate that it's 2 nights now.
Yeah,
I hate 2-night WrestleMania, but as far as like a product and as far as a show and all that, I love it, man. I absolutely love it.
Yep, and me too. And that's why I wanted to do this, because like I said, it was such a part of my fabric, not only as a wrestling fan, but just growing up as a child. It was such a big part of my life. And yeah, I mean, even, the ones that I think it went 2 nights for 36, which with a COVID year, which that one was a fucking mess, obviously. But like 37 and 38, we're both pretty damn good by and large. And I mean, I'm going to rank them as a whole show, not like night 1, night 2.
Right.
And hell, this year's 39 looking pretty damn nice as well coming up.
Pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a full rankings here. I know, you kind of have the info up in your head. So we're going to kind of use my rankings here as a guide, and we'll
and I'm gonna blow them the fuck out of the water.
Please do. But yeah, take the opportunity to talk about just highlights, lowlights, which there will be many lowlights for these first few, because we're going to go in reverse order. Favorite match, worst favorite match, maybe just memories, watching it, whether it have been live or back. Obviously we weren't watching WrestleMania 1 live. I wasn't even born yet, so. But I guess so. Since I have a full list, do you have one that you would consider the worst? Is there one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I think 11. I think 11 is just by far the worst. I'm just gonna bring up the card here quick,
please,
just so I can remember. I know it opens with
your boys, the Harris boys.
The Harris boys against fucking
the
Lex.
Allied Powers.
Yeah. Oh, just disgusting here. Where is it? There it is. 9, 10, almost there. 11. All right. So listen to this fucking card, because it's I mean, it's a drama is what it is. Let me see here. They don't have. There it is. I got it. So you got Allied Powers versus the Blue Brothers. Trash.
Yeah.
Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett was actually a pretty fun match. The stuff afterwards, not really a great fan of, but it was an entertaining match. Then you got Taker versus Bundy, and Bundy can't really move at that point.
Yeah.
Owen and Yoke and against the Smoking Guns, which Yoke coming back was a pretty big thing, but it falls short, obviously, because he can't really move at this point.
No.
Bret Hart,
600 pounds at this point, if not more.
Right, yeah. Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund. So this is probably the saving grace of the entire show, because of Bob Backlund and Bret Hart, because I'm a huge Backlund guy, huge Hart guy. So that match itself might be worth the price of admission, but there's so much shit around it. Diesel versus Shawn was a pretty big letdown, and it was the first time I believe that they went title match not in the main event slot.
Yeah, you might be. I mean, WrestleMania 1, obviously the title wasn't on the line,
right?
But like Hogan being the champ was in the main event, so Other than that, yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh, number 8 had Hogan and Sid.
Oh, good talk.
For the title
Yep.
with Macho and Flair in the middle, which when we get to WrestleMania 8, I've got some very strong positive thoughts.
Okay, good.
For sure. Yeah, that was one. I guess I'll just say it now. That was one even before the box set, WrestleMania 8. I can remember we rented at Blockbuster, really before I'd seen much wrestling at all. And so that's one that always will stick out to me, and I'll kind of save the details for when we get there. But yeah, that is one that did not have the title match last.
And then the main event was the LT versus Bam. And
yep.
I mean, LT I thought did a good job in that.
He did.
And Bam at that point can still go. You know, he's still a talented guy at that point. So his body's not quitting on him yet. So that's the worst, man. I might fight people on that one. I'm not going to fight anybody. I might have Stonehenge fight somebody for me on that one. But yeah, that's definitely the one that sticks out in my mind as the worst.
So I had that third from the bottom, so pretty close. My bottom of the barrel was your first show.
You motherfucker. I knew it. I knew it. You're
9.
wrong.
It sucks.
It does not suck, man.
There's not even, a single, I guess Tatanka and Shawn, I guess the second match was okay too, but I'm just, the whole Hogan beating Yokozuna thing, such bullshit. When I was thinking of ranking these, and I'm a huge, Bret Hart is one of my favorites of all time, no doubt. And just to see him get raked through the coals like that, and just talk about ending a show with a fucking sour taste in your mouth, whereas 10 is the opposite. Yeah, Bret versus Yoko, maybe not the best match in the world, but you get that triumph. You get Owen coming out, having already beaten him, and just like, motherfucker. And 10 is going to be way up on my list, but 9 is just, it's dog shit. I think compared to 11, I actually liked Shawn and Diesel because I was a kid and didn't really know anything else. And I'm like, oh, this was good. And then LT and Bam was fun. It was very a WrestleMania spectacle type of match. So I'm going to take the strength of the ending over 9, but let's hear it. Give it to me.
So you're definitely wrong. You're just wrong in so many ways. So WrestleMania 9 was the first time it went over the top spectacle.
Yeah.
Over the top. It was the first, the set completely different than what you're used to. The entrances,
Keenan coming down on, what was it, like an elephant or some bullshit?
Keenan came down on a camel backwards, and then you had Savage coming in with the virgins on the caravan. It was different. The lighting was different. Everything about it was different, and it was the first time they went all out. Everything was big at WrestleMania 9. Now, you go to WrestleMania 10 and go to WrestleMania 8. Those stages, right? Obviously, they're different, but they're still kind of just regular wrestling, event type stages. Where WrestleMania 9, poof, right?
World's largest toga party.
Right. You got color. You got, things were happening, right? And the matches, man, so obviously Taker Gonzalez is tough. Right, it's tough.
One of, if not the worst WrestleMania match of all time. It's Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler, but this is close.
It's tough. Yeah. But obviously Backlund Razor, I have my issues with, but obviously Backlund is always, Backlund's always good. That match didn't do anything for him. Everybody shits on the ending, and I get it. I understand why, but that ending should not sour the entire show, because there was still some pretty decent wrestling in there. Yeah, Perf and Luger was a little off, but we know why that is. Steiner,
the narcissist, Luger,
narcissist. And then
Steiner's versus the Head Shrinkers was match 2.
Super entertaining match, right?
The first two were solid. And then the whole thing fell off a cliff, in my opinion.
So I hate Crush. Not a Crush guy.
Yeah, you do.
But Crush and Doink, man, They did well. They did well by me, man. I don't know.
Hawaiian Crush, this form of Crush
Mhm.
was the only one that I could like, because I liked playing as him in the video game, and he had cool, like WWF Raw on Super Nintendo, or maybe it was Royal Rumble, and he just had cool music. So, but yeah, this was like the cool part of Doink, when Doink was a heel and there were two Doinks, and yeah, maybe you're talking me into it.
But plus, it's like Heenan is on commentary still. Like this is a Heenan commentary, and having Heenan with Savage on commentary, man, like it as a whole show. I know people shit on it all the time. You're wrong. It is a fun wrestling show.
Yeah, you might have me here.
Yeah, I'll keep selling you.
The ending, and I'm not a Hogan guy at all. So, are you? You're kind of a Hogan guy, aren't you?
So Hogan is
at least WWF Hogan.
I mean, pretty much all the way through, man. Like his career, and I've said it on Duke and I's show. Like, there's not one other performer in the history of professional wrestling that was at least had a hand in the responsibility for the boom in popularity.
Totally.
So when you're talking about originally, in WWF and doing the program with Andre and all, like even before then doing the first WrestleMania and all that, huge boom in wrestling popularity, and he carried that for years.
No doubt.
Now it waned. He left. He went to WCW. I think they wanted that boom for WCW when he got there. But then when he turned, again, boom. Yep. Giant popularity spike, and there's no other performer that has done that. So, I mean, he's not Dean Malenko by any stretch. You know what I mean? But he's a performer, and
no doubt.
And I've always loved that about him and his characters, that he's always entertaining to me.
Yeah, I think just as I've gotten older, and I think let's just say you and I definitely have quite different philosophies or thoughts on what we enjoy out of wrestling. Like of course, I love the story and spectacle, but I've become more of just like a straight match guy and work rate and all. Like that's what really gets my rocks off as much as anything. And I think you're kind of the opposite. You need that storyline buy-in. You need that. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say,
speak for you.
I was going to say, I think that there's a blend.
Yes, for sure.
I think that wrestling, whether it's on the indies, whether it's on Impact, whether it's on AEW, WWE, doesn't matter where it is.
In Japan.
Right. Wrestling is a variety show.
Yes.
So you need a little bit of everything in your wrestling show, because you need to catch people at different spots at different times, whoever the fan is that's in audience or at home watching it on TV. It's a variety show. And even when you go to a high school variety show and you sit through the entire Dreadful Motherfucker, there's going to be at least like two things that you're like, you know what, this sucks. But there was two things that I really enjoyed.
No doubt.
So, and wrestling is the same way, and it needs to be that way. So Hogan was always that like over the top performer part of the variety show where you're like, man, that was fun. But then you look at like a guy like Mach during the early days, Mach gave you your matches, right?
And so that's why I was always a Macho Man guy over a Hogan guy, and why. Granted, it's not going to rank super high on this list, but WrestleMania 4, because it's like 20 hours long, it feels like. The one with the tournament that Macho wins, that was another one I can remember. We rented it as a kid, and it was 2 tapes because it was so long. And I remember we rented tape 2, not realizing we needed tape 1. And then our friend's mom trucked all the way back out to the video store and got number 1. But like seeing Macho Man win that tournament, granted with the help of Hogan, was always an incredibly fond memory for me growing up.
So that story is very, very concerning to me. What fucking video store?
I know.
Splits them up into 2 goddamn rentals.
Yeah, at least have it like as one complete box.
I mean, I was a video store employee. Yeah, you have it in one box. It's
correct.
Name names. What's the video store? I want to know.
It might have been like Family Video or Hollywood Video. It was one of those. It wasn't Blockbuster because they, I feel like, always did have the doubles.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was heartbreaking, but Shelly Stevens, my friend's mom, she went out there and God bless her, she went to get tape number 1. So
I hope that goddamn video store's out of business.
Oh, it has been for 20 years. Honestly, it probably went out of business not long thereafter.
Right.
Okay, so now I've got another one that maybe we'll just say this one's the worst.
Okay.
Nope, number 2.
2's tough.
It's a shit show, man. I mean, 3 locations.
Yep. Yeah.
3 different announce teams.
Yep.
What was the final main event? Hogan and Bundy in the cage.
Bundy in the cage, yeah. And there was so many things about WrestleMania 2 that you can point to and be like, boy, I really didn't like this one. But like the things that stick out to me necessarily aren't really the matches, right? Because there was what you have
I always remember the NFL players like Battle Royal was always kind of with like William the Refrigerator Perry. Like that's like a positive memory of WrestleMania 2.
Came down to Brett and Andre, right?
I thought Brett and Bad News Brown, right?
That was 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right then. You're right. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up right now.
No, you're absolutely right. Because 4 was was it Brett that destroyed the trophy or was
trophy? Yeah, he destroyed the trophy. So if you were to look at this card just the way it sits, you would go, this is going to be fun and entertaining. But I think the transitions really were rough. Savage versus Steel, I remember that being fun.
Turnbuckle biting going on there.
Yeah, Jake versus George Wells. I
don't remember that at all.
Exactly. The boxing match sucked.
Oh, so bad. Listen to these judges. Cab Calloway, Daryl Dawkins, and G. Gordon Liddy.
Well, you need G. Gordon there. He's
obviously,
important. Yeah. Terry and Haas Funk versus Tito and JYD. Adonis versus Uncle Elmer. There's a ton of
Corporal Kirshner versus Nikolai Volkov. I'd say the best match was the British Bulldogs defeating the Dream Team of Brutus and Greg Valentine for the tag titles.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think anybody would argue that.
Yeah.
But like when you look at the card top to bottom, there's a ton of like Hall of Fame talent on the card. But the thing that stuck out to me is the weirdest, strangest, off-putting thing about the entire show was when they cut to Vince and was it Saint James? What was her name?
Yeah, it's something like that. That sounds right.
I got it right here. Susan St. James.
Susan St. James. Hell yeah.
And they're just like sitting in a couple of easy chairs. And Vince is like, you can tell he's almost like uncomfortable. But at the same time,
why am I announcing this with a woman? Damn
right, yeah, exactly. But like he's also like, it almost seems like he's trying to flex at the same time during commentary. He's like,
Susan,
what do you think of that, Susan?
What a maneuver, Susan!
Right. And I was like, man, stop it. Just stop. So like that part of it threw me off. And then it's hard to get a flow in the event
when you're moving to different locations and jumping around.
It's hard to get a feel for the crowd when you're jumping around.
Yes.
It's hard for the announcers when you're jumping around. Like everything about it was rough. And I'm not a WrestleMania 2 guy myself. There's just not a lot that jumps out as being.
So we can agree then together that WrestleMania 2 is the worst.
Yeah, I mean that's the first one that I think that we're not.
I would give 11 a nudge over it. So yeah, I went 9, 2, 11 as my bottom 3, but I think you convinced me to go 2, 9, 11, maybe even 2, 11, 9.
2, 11, 9 is you're getting warmer. Yeah,
but you're right. Like the outdoor aspect of it, it was different. It was bright. So I can get behind that. But
ring ropes were different colors than we had seen to that point. Like the presentation was good, but yeah, 2. I guess we'll go ahead and say 2
is stalked.
Yeah, 2's bad.
Okay, so my next one on the list, 27, which is called the biggest I love how some of them have taglines, some don't. This one is the biggest WrestleMania ever. It's at the Georgia Dome, main evented by The Miz and John Cena, which was just a vehicle to get The Rock in there and to set up the next 2 WrestleMania main events. But
okay, yeah.
The only match worth a damn at all was the Undertaker and Triple H no holds barred match. But their 28 match in the cell with Shawn as the ref is way better than this. So this one kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
We open with Edge and Alberto Del Rio, which was Edge's final match before his retirement. So there's at least that. We have Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio was okay. Listen to this 8-man. Kane, Kofi Kingston, Santino Marella, and The Big Show defeat The Core. Ezekiel Jackson, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, and Wade Barrett in a minute 33.
Yeah. Well, The Core was not long for this world.
No. Randy Orton, CM Punk, I remember being very let down by because I was a big fan of both guys, and it just, I think it was okay, but didn't really get to anything that was super exciting. And here's the one I mentioned before. I think this has got to be the worst WrestleMania match of all time. Michael Cole with Jack Swagger defeats Jerry Lawler by a DQ with Stone Cold Steve Austin as the special referee. I just remember this being like the first time I ever was embarrassed to be a wrestler. I mean, not really, but it's like, oh my God. You get Michael Cole in his singlet and his fucking dumb helmet. And this was like prime time. And I really like Michael Cole now. And I think he's had a hell of a career. But this was prime when he was healing it up and he was not good. It was change the channel heat. It was time. It was, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an announcement from our general manager, that time. Just dreadful shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at the card right now.
Oh, let's not forget John Morrison, Snooki, and Trish Stratus defeating Dolph Ziggler and Lay Cool in 3 minutes 15 seconds.
I got to be looking at the wrong card. Which WrestleMania did you say?
27.
Okay, so I'm definitely looking at the wrong WrestleMania. I'm like, wait a second, no, I'm thinking, no, you're wrong here. 28.
I just remember 25 is when I got back into wrestling after 7 years without watching anything.
Okay.
So I'm 2 years into being a fan again, and I'm locked in. I'm a huge fan. I'm a diehard again. And I just remember this one being man, that sucked, as a WrestleMania and being super excited. And I thought 25 and 26 were both pretty good.
Yeah. I'm trying to jog my memory of the card itself, and
the fact that you don't remember, I think, is telling.
Yeah, it's a good point. I remember being surprised by Snooki, right? I remember going, "Wow, look at this! She's not bad." As far as a celebrity, making a spot, I was like, you know what, not bad. I don't have any memory of the Core.
I mean, it was a minute 30. I don't think anyone does.
Right. Great Khali won the Battle Royal. That was fine, I guess.
That was a pre-show Battle Royal.
Pre-show, yeah.
Do you have any recollection of The Miz and Cena?
So, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. And the reason why being I'm a Miz guy.
Okay, I am too. And I was happy he won this match for sure, but it was just kind of a disappointment.
Going into the card, I think it was the only person at that WrestleMania gathering that was pulling for the Miz.
Yeah,
and I this guy has he is so severely underrated.
Couldn't agree more.
And for him to have that spot, and I think everybody kind of went with, it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to lose.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. And the video package they did for his entrance was amazing. The entrance was great. It was fantastic. And everybody there was cheering for John Cena but me. And I'm going, no, I understand the Miz is probably not walking out tonight with the belt, but I'm still pulling for him either way.
And I was happy he was in that spot for sure.
Yeah, big time. So when he won,
you let him have it.
Well, because it was shocking, right? I think everybody.
Once The Rock came in and did what he did, it's okay, it makes sense. But yes, it was still shocking, and I think we sure as hell didn't realize at the time that was essentially the seed to plant the next 2 WrestleMania main events and Rock's comeback. But I just remember at the time watching that show and just being very severely disappointed because, like I said, I was so into the product again, even though it wasn't, the best time to be a WWE fan, but I was into it. And I just remember being pretty let down overall by this. But again, we're out of the territory where I think all the shows were just complete dog shit. I think 9, 2, and 11 are kind of standalone in that aspect. But
we can agree to disagree.
2-11.
Okay, yeah, 2-11. Yeah, fuck them. Do you remember the Triple H Taker match at that show?
I do, but not, like I said, not as much as the one after it, the next year,
Yeah,
2028 with that was the Hell in a Cell that had Michaels as the special referee, and it was you had Michaels super kick the Undertaker, thinking, oh my god, the streak is over, he kicked out. But I do remember this match being really good. But
is this the one he got him into the? He was using the boy. God, what was he using? I think he was using the triangle. Or Hell's Gate, yeah.
Did he like pass out in Hell's Gate or something?
I think so.
That sounds about right.
Sounds right. This was not very good. Though, like I say, as far as front to back, not a top WrestleMania, but happy for the Miz.
Yes. So we go on. I've got 36 next, which is 2020, the COVID year. Again, like. It's a tough spot. It's certainly not the fault of anyone here, but they had to do the show without fans. So it was not going to be great. And admittedly, I don't like there's a ladder match for the SmackDown tag team titles that was 3 individuals, John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston. I can't say I even really remember it that well.
I don't remember that at all.
Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in a no DQ match.
I remember that.
I don't really remember it, but I do, and this is night 1 that I'm going on here. Mm-hmm. I do remember the Boneyard match, and that's what I honestly what sticks out for me from this WrestleMania is the Boneyard match with Undertaker and AJ Styles, and the Firefly Funhouse match with Cena and Bray Wyatt. Like. Those were all right. They flexed their creativity. It's like, okay, we can't have fans. What can we do? And I thought both of those were brilliant personally. What were your thoughts on the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match?
I hate cinematic matches.
Yeah, I figured you probably did.
I fucking hate them. I'm just not. It's not for me, man. I can't stand it. And once the streak was broken, the aura of the Undertaker at WrestleMania was completely gone. So
I agree.
I can appreciate the thought that went into the Boneyard match for sure, and I can appreciate the thought that went into the Firefly Funhouse match. But I just don't like cinematic matches. Just in the slightest, they're just not for me, man. And that's okay because some people love them, and good for you guys. I can't get into it. I remember Rollins and Owens being fantastic, but it, like that with this COVID WrestleMania, it's almost, in my mind, it almost doesn't count. You know what I mean? Like it's WrestleMania, but it's with all the shit that was going on and the adversity that they were facing to try and even get something like this together.
Still impressive
for sure, but it for me, for whatever reason, however you want to look at it, it's just not. It just almost doesn't count in the grand scheme of WrestleManias.
Yep, I agree. First off, the Fiend and John Cena, that wasn't even really a match at all.
No,
But I thought that was super cool. It honestly felt like an acid trip. Like it was so bizarre, like going back and forth, and I thought that was really cool, but totally understand not for everyone. I thought the best actual match and one that I remember was the opener from night 2, and we're going to get the rematch this year, and that's Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Then was for the NXT Championship, and now we get Mommy Rhea Ripley, who I hope is going to take down that fucking horse, Charlotte Flair. And then we had Edge and Randy Orton in a 37-minute last man standing match where they went all around the back, That one was decent, It was long as shit, but I'd say we've talked enough about this. We got a lot more to get through. So next I have number 1. Thoughts on number 1?
It is fun to watch. It is fun to go back and watch the beginning of WrestleMania. With that being said, you have to get in a different mindset to watch and appreciate it. And you have to do that for anything when you go into the way back, right? Because wrestling was different then than it is today. So, it's enjoyable. It's entertaining. I had fun. If Tito Santana, and that was Tito and Matt Bourne, right? No, Tito and
Steamboat and Matt Bourne, yeah. Tito and Executioner.
Yeah. So like there was some there's guys on that card that are fun. And then I loved how Lord Alfred, they cut to Alfred, and you would see guys walking oh shit, I'm in the shot, I gotta walk this way. Yeah. There's so much that they're still figuring out.
Yeah, and
it's super important, but it doesn't necessarily hold up long term. I think David Sammartino fought somebody with this
Brutus. Yeah, it went 12 minutes. Yeah,
and that was when Brutus had no promo stuff. I believe that before he went on, instead of saying anything, it was Valiant was his manager. So Valiant's talking, and Brutus just makes a fucking a fart noise into the mic before he walks off. I was like, what the fuck was that? If you don't have any promo skills and you got Valiant talking for you, let Valiant talk. Don't say anything. But he's like, and he walks out. I'm like, what?
And fucking what Gorilla Monsoon would always call him, Brudai.
Yeah. So no, one is important, and I love the impact that it had. But it doesn't hold. Nostalgia holds up
for sure,
but the action doesn't necessarily hold up.
Yeah, the main event, pretty much is that to a T. It's not the most exciting match in the world, but I think it's exactly what it was supposed to accomplish. You had Muhammad Ali as the ref, was Mr. T. So I think you're right. One, it's obviously very important, but not one you're going to go back and be like, oh, that was amazing.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised I remember that much about one. It couldn't have been that bad if I remember that much about it.
Okay, next I have WrestleMania 29, which was 2013 at MetLife Stadium. Main event here was John Cena versus The Rock 2. So this was the one where Cena won it back. Really only big match that was really good was Undertaker versus CM Punk. Very good match. And in the build, remember, you had CM Punk bathing in Paul Bear's ashes in the urn. That was very awesome. Honestly, I don't really remember this match super well, but Triple H versus Lesnar with Triple H's career on the line in a no-holds-barred match.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Semi-main, yeah. 24 minutes. Alberto Del Rio defeats Jack Swagger to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. That was We the People!
Oh.
Zeb Coulter.
Yeah.
Fandango defeats Chris Jericho. Team Hell No defeats Big E and Dolph. Mark Henry, Ryback. The Shield versus Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show. It's kind of a blah WrestleMania.
Yeah, and so I remember that was Fandango was taking off.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Big time. So I remember
didn't really go anywhere after this.
No, it unfortunately did not.
Jericho, God love him, was willing to put him over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was surprising when that happened because I didn't see Fandango winning it, and I mean for a brief moment in time, you couldn't go to a WWE show without everybody doing the fucking Dango dance. And I mean, so it was fun. I wish they would have went more with it. I don't remember shit about H and Lesnar.
I don't either.
And I mean, on paper, you go, they went 24 minutes.
Yeah.
And then no holds barred match. That should be super entertaining, but I got no recollection of it. Ryback Henry, that seems like a big man spectacle.
Yep.
I'm just not seeing. You're right here. I'm seeing a lot of blah to it. Yep. Taker Punk. I do remember Taker Punk being fun. I remember
very good.
The program being fun, the match being fun, but I think blah is a fair way to rate it, to be honest with you.
I want to say hey to our boy Justin Time 211 for tuning in. Thanks, Justin. You the fucking man. Yeah. And I remember one of the stories coming into this had nothing to do with wrestling, but the weather, because it's outdoors in New York in April, and it's what if it fucking rains or is 40 degrees or whatever? So
be great.
They dodged that bullet. All right, chugging along here. Next, I mentioned it earlier. Next, I have WrestleMania 4, which was the tagline is "What the world is watching." This was the first of two from Trump Palace. And yeah, this one I remember is very long. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 matches on this show.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe one of them is over 10 minutes. Two of them. There was a draw with Jake Roberts and Rick Rude in the first round that I just remember was just they're going for the draw, like nothing was happening. But like I said, the memorable thing in this was Macho Man winning the title over Ted DiBiase. Demolition in the semi-main won I believe their first tag team titles off of Strike Force. Obviously Demolition then went on to go have that amazing run.
That's when Rick walked out on Tito, wasn't it?
No, that was the next year. They came back. And
that's right.
They wrestled the Brainbusters.
Yep, you're right.
And here Justin said, only thing I think anyone remembers from Triple H and Brock Lesnar is the pedigree on the steps.
Might be right. I don't even remember that. So,
I mean, now that he mentioned it, that rings a bell.
I can visualize it, but I don't remember it.
But yeah, what do you think about WrestleMania 4?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So the Battle Royal, super fun. It was George the Animal Steel got eliminated without even going into the match. The referees just kind of got tired of his shit, and they're like, you go now. The tournament was fun.
It was.
Bob Uecker, I think, was added a fun little hitch in there. You know what I mean? Like, it was
I've put on his WrestleMania Hall of Fame ring before. Actually.
Really? Yeah. Uecker's.
Because I worked in baseball for a bit, and he was the Brewers announcer, and I kind of got to know the Brewers PR guy, who's also a big wrestling fan, and he had the ring, and I'm like, can I try that on? So, a little anecdote there.
That's awesome. The tournament, obviously, I enjoy a good tournament.
They're just so overdone today in wrestling, but yes, then amazing.
And I think that there's, I don't know, top to bottom, is there anybody on the card that's not Hall of Fame, like in the Hall of Fame, or a guy that you think isn't that should be? Butch Reed's the only guy that's jumping out to me.
You're right. I mean, it's a pretty loaded roster at this time for sure.
Yeah, I think top to bottom, I think they're all Hall of Famers with the exception of Butch Reed. Butch Reed might be, I'm not sure.
He just passed away somewhat recently too, right? So he could maybe get in. But is Hercules a Hall of Famer?
That might be the other one. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not.
Went down to the Warrior in 4.5 here.
Yeah, it's good, man. I like WrestleMania 4. WrestleMania 4 is one of those ones that, because I'll put on wrestling every night, like when I'm going to bed. So I'll pop that. WrestleMania 4 is one of the go-tos for me because it's an easy watch.
Yep. Well, and again, now we're at the point where it's starting to get really difficult to rank. I'm like, oh shit, this is a lot harder than I thought. I thought 4 should be higher. Because it's always like, how do you balance like the personal experience and memories of a show that's maybe not as good on paper as one, like to mention 22 and 23 are very good shows and they'll rank pretty highly, but like I wasn't watching wrestling at that time.
Gotcha.
But I recently rewatched 22. I'm like, damn, yeah, that is pretty damn good. So, trying to take recency bias out of this, but yeah. So next, I have WrestleMania 15 from 1999, which again is a great time of wrestling, but it's not a great show. And frankly, maybe it should be a little bit lower, but with it being Rock and Stone Cold in their first WrestleMania match in the main event, and it delivered, that one bumps it up a little bit for me. The tagline here is the Ragin' Climax.
Oh, hell yeah.
How about that?
Sign me up, I guess.
The first Union Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow and Billy Gunn in a hardcore title triple threat match.
Yes.
Double J and Owen defeating D'Lo Brown and Test to retain the tag titles. Oh, Butterbean knocks out Bart Gunn in 35 seconds. Mankind defeats Paul White by DQ to get the winner gets to referee the main event. Road Dogg defeats Goldust, Ken Shamrock, and Val Venus for the Intercontinental title. Kane defeats Triple H by DQ. Sable defeats Tori. Shane McMahon defeats X-Pac for the European title. Undertaker defeats Big Boss Man and hangs him
yeah.
inside Hell in a Cell. And then Steve Austin versus The Rock. So the show is not nearly as good as it probably should have been at this time, but that's almost kind of the Attitude Era somewhat in a nutshell, is like we remember it more for the moments and the storylines, and the wrestling itself always wasn't that great, you know, especially in like 99. I feel like 2000 it started to get better because you got Jericho, Benoit, Eddie, Dean, all those guys coming in. But yeah, your thoughts on 15?
So I think, boy, remind me, Sable versus Tori. Tori was wearing like a cat, like it was almost like a giant Gonzalez type cat, fucking, wasn't it? Like,
sounds right, yeah.
Butterbean Bart Gunn, I hated just because Bart he won the damn Brawl for All, and then you feed him to Butterbean. That sucked.
So stupid, yeah. I mean, the Brawl for All ruined a lot of people. Bart Gunn, Dr. Death.
Boy, I remember the thing that I loved the most about this WrestleMania, and I'm just, like I say, you're going through the card. I'm looking at the card right now. The thing that I loved the most about this WrestleMania was Mankind.
Yeah.
Getting to, like, he's got to do this to get, and now he's got to, and like, then he got to be in the main event. Yep. So it was, that part of it was pretty cool. And then the other thing that's always stood out to me about this WrestleMania was the turns, right? Because that's when what was it? They turned on, didn't DX become heels at this WrestleMania?
That sounds right. Yeah,
I think they aligned themselves with the corporation in some turn. Yeah, and then who can forget the fucking public execution of the Big Boss Man?
I mean, no one.
No. And then the Brood coming down from the ceiling and all that. Like,
oh my god,
it was over the top. But I you're right. It's not great.
Get show, Just what up, player? Thanks for tuning in, pimp.
The doubles.
Yes. So yeah, WrestleMania 15, not great, but a lot of fun stuff happened. You know.
Yep.
Okay, next. This is one I just finished watching over the course of several nights as I was going to bed. Is WrestleMania 5. The Mega Powers explode is the tagline here. I feel like a lot of these early shows were really long. This was like a 3-hour, 38-minute WrestleMania, but again, one that as a kid, like these were just 4, 5, 6, 7. Like those are like my bread and butter growing up, and just ones that I could always go to. Obviously, the main event here was, I think, definitely the match of the night. We had Rick Rude defeating the Ultimate Warrior with Heenan pulling down the fucking legs. Love that.
One of the best finishes. It's so good. Yeah.
To win the IC title. This was Brainbusters defeating Strike Force that's when Rick Martel walked out. He's like, that guy's a loser.
Yeah, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. Mr. Perfect in the blue blazer. Very fun. This was Perfect's first WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. A shitty match, but one that I have fun with is the Bushwhackers and the Fabulous Rougeaus. I mean, who doesn't like the Bushwhackers, dude?
Right, yeah. They extended their career by years.
Yeah. Hercules King Haku opened it. Twin Towers versus the Rockers was pretty good.
Yes.
Brutus versus Ted DiBiase. Demolition defeat handicap of Mr. Fuji and the Powers of Pain. Dino Bravo and Ronnie Garvin. Yeah, what do you think about 5?
So 5's one that I remember liking, but like going back and looking at the card, there's not much that I remember about it. So that's the part that's tough to me.
You had the Red Rooster. Terry Taylor.
Hey guys, I'm Terry Taylor. Motherfucker, hate him.
Beating Heenan with the Brooklyn Brawler in 32 seconds.
Yeah, good job.
Semi-main.
Good job, Terry Taylor.
Fuck his head.
There's not much on here that I fucking like. That I think the main event obviously was.
Main event's very solid.
Great. That was a story from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5, and it was amazing.
Yep.
I don't remember Jake versus Andre, though it sounds like it'd be fun as hell to watch.
Big John Studd is the honestly, it's not very good.
Oh, okay. Damn it. So I guess
Foundation versus Greg Valentine and Honky Tonk Man was pretty fun.
Yeah, I could say and there's things on here that are popping out. I remember the Rockers versus the Twin Towers because I think that
was a good match.
That's one of those things you're like, boy, the Rockers can really work everybody. Like
and
that.
they opened WrestleMania 7, I believe, against the Orient Express, and that was a really good
Yeah. So I mean, it's not going to be like high on my list. I wouldn't say, but I have to watch it again. Like I have to watch it again. I remember Hercules King Haku.
It's a little more fun watching than just like looking at the, I don't know. I guess like I said, that time I just have very fond memories with all those shows.
Was this Willie Nelson? Did Willie Nelson do this?
I think so. Yeah.
Was it really? Damn.
Yeah. I fast forwarded it, but I'm pretty sure.
I know Willie, he did one of them. I'm just trying to remember if this, because there was a couple of weird ones where it was like was it Rock and Robin did one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, it was this one. Rock and Robin did the America the Beautiful. She opened it. Yeah. Okay. So boy, they really went deep pockets on the celebrity on that one. But yeah, it's fine.
Number 12. Which I have a feeling you may rank this one a little higher.
Yeah, we might.
On your reaction,
we might fight. It's all right.
Obviously, this was largely a one-match show, not entirely, but the Iron Man match is certainly what's remembered most about this. Shawn Michaels achieving the boyhood dream, telling Bret Hart to get the fuck out of his ring. The Gold Dust, Roddy Piper Hollywood backlot brawl, and the O.J. Simpson recreation, all fun stuff.
Yeah.
Undertaker versus Diesel, pretty solid match. You had the return of the Ultimate Warrior squashing Triple H, Stone Cold and Savio Vega. And then the opener was Owen Hart, British Bulldog and Vader defeating Ahmed Johnson, Jake Roberts, and Yokozuna. Just outside of the Iron Man match, not a whole lot to sink your teeth into here, but I'm guessing you're going to disagree.
Yeah, I am. Of course I am, man. Not a lot to sink your teeth into. One, I believe that's Savio Vega's WrestleMania debut, so that's pretty huge. Also,
I forgot your affinity for the Bariquas. My apologies.
Yeah, and that's also Steve Austin's first WrestleMania. So those two big time deals there. I was very excited to see the return of the Ultimate Warrior, and I think it was Jerry the King Lawler said beforehand, he's like, we haven't seen him in years. We have no idea what's running down the and then he runs out and it's he looks different, but he's still the Warrior. When he got hit with the pedigree, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then no, obviously he ended up getting up and squashing him, which was what it was. I remember the build for Taker and Diesel being super fun and entertaining. Piper is always great, but the backlot brawl did not do much for me at all.
No.
And the Iron Man match is a match that I can still go back and watch and still pull things out of. So it's almost like are you familiar with the movie The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Of course.
So that's a movie I've seen, I'm guessing 30, 40, 50 times.
Meet me in Montauk, brother.
I'm right there with you. But like every time I watch it, it seems like I can find something new, like another layer to it. And that's kind of how I compared the Iron Man match. You can watch that again and again and pick up like just different subtle things throughout the match. So WrestleMania 12 it's the Iron Man match.
Yeah.
But there's other parts to it that I think people forget. Like it's pretty special.
Yeah. What'd you think, not to get too off topic, but do you think MJF Danielson was a better match than this one? No. I do. But both are amazing.
Yeah, both are absolutely amazing. It's hard to.
This match set the tone for all future Iron Man. This is the bench. This is the fucking benchmark. Absolutely.
Right. Whenever you do a 60-minute Iron Man match, this is the match that you have to like. And
to their credit, without a single pinfall, they kept it captivating the entire time. So
the whole way. So it's and that's not to take anything away from MJF or Danielson because I think they're both unbelievable talents.
Yeah.
But a part of that's probably nostalgia on my part as well.
Sure.
It's just that match. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm a big fan of 12. And again, Savio, man. Savio. He doesn't get the credit he deserves.
No, I don't disagree. I like Savio.
Yeah.
Up next, number 32. Main evented by the most telegraphed title change of all time, with Roman Reigns defeating Triple H in a very kind of long and boring match. Baron Corbin wins the Battle Royal. Undertaker, Shane McMahon in a 30-minute Hell in a Cell match with Shane jumping off the top. Best match of the night was Charlotte defeating Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks in a triple threat. I remember that being amazing. Then the opener was fun as well. The 7-way Intercontinental Ladder match. Zack Ryder getting his big moment over Dolph, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Sin Cara, Stardust, and The Miz. We had Jericho versus AJ Styles in Styles' first WrestleMania, with Jericho getting a surprising win. League of Nations defeat the New Day, and a very, very disappointing Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose street fight. Really, it's a 2.5 match show, if you ask me. That opening ladder match, the women's triple threat, and Jericho Styles, and everything else is kind of a big dump.
A big dump, huh? Yeah. I mean, so the ladder match was huge. The ladder match,
it was awesome.
They found a way to surprise me, which I love. If you could surprise me in wrestling today, I'm happy. And it was a good match. And Zack Ryder winning was
great
moment. Pretty shocking. League of Nations, no recollection. I have no fucking idea what the League of Nations is. And like I'm not one of those guys I've never stepped away from wrestling.
Yeah. To remind you, it was Alberto Del Rio, Rusev, Sheamus with King Barrett.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
Here's what Justin says. When the only awesome moment of the match was Stephanie getting speared, you got a god-awful main event. And it took 27 minutes to get there.
Depends on how she gets speared. Oh, yeah.
That's enough.
That's enough. I remember Corbin winning, which kind of surprised me. Taker McMahon, it sounds like
it was just long. It was very long.
Yeah, and I'm not a Charlotte Flair guy. This one might actually be lower on my list.
I have very fond memories watching this though.
Okay,
with friends at the house. We had probably 12 people together for this show.
Gotcha.
And again, you go back and watch that women's match. At this time, when I think women's wrestling was in WWE was starting to get more shine, I think this was a big, big match kind of for that. So
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Nothing jumps out to me. The match between Rowan and The Rock.
6 seconds.
Actually, I shared a locker room with Rowan a couple months back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mr. Redbeard, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, up next is Wrestlemania 34 from the Louisiana or Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Main event was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. We had Nicholas winning the tag team championships here with Braun Strowman over The Bar. We had AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in a match that I couldn't have been more excited about because I loved their New Japan match. Like, that was part of what got me into New Japan. And it wasn't a bad match, but it was just so underwhelming knowing what they could do. And I just remember telling all my friends, this is going to be amazing. This is the match of the night. I haven't been so excited for a WWE match, well, I guess in the year, because we had the whole Daniel Bryan shit the year before, which was amazing. Yeah. Or no, that was 30. 33 I was 30, at. I'm getting confused. But, just a big fucking letdown for me. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus KO and Sammy was fun. Honestly, one of the matches of the night might have been Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey over Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. That was good fun. The opener was really good. 3-way triple threat, Rollins, Balor, Miz for the Intercontinental title. And then again, your girl, Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Very solid match.
Where the fuck you come up with this your girl, man? I am not a Charlotte guy whatsoever.
I know.
Your girl, man. Oh, man.
Someone in one of the group, we were on a stream, said she looked like a horse, and I was in my Dusty Rhodes doing my dust. It's like, Kathy the horse. What a poor horseman, brother. But this one for me will always be about the disappointment of Styles Nakamura and just how little I gave a shit or cared about Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. But some good shit in the first third of the card here.
Yeah.
And another one I remember watching amongst a lot of friends and having a good time. But
yeah, and this is when Cena was begging for a match with the Undertaker, correct?
That's right, yeah.
And he was sitting in the audience for at one point. So that was I remember that being fun. Obviously the match.
Oh, yeah, I missed that on the card. Yeah, it just kind of slipped in there.
2
minutes 45 seconds. Yeah,
wasn't much to the match. Bludgeon Brothers, I'd never really cared for that.
Oh, I kind of did, but I mean, they were both better than that gimmick. But exactly. I thought they made the best of that gimmick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Styles Nakamura, I don't know that I was disappointed in it, but that might be just because I'm not a New Japan guy, so I don't know what they did. You know what I mean in New Japan. So that's that match for me was fun. That. Gotcha. Jinder and the Fatal 4-Way. That's fine. I mean, I'm pretty what you would call gender neutral.
Oh, that's really fucking good.
But Lesnar.
Here's Justin, Charlotte, the overrated android.
Yeah. You can tell she's falling apart faster and faster by the day.
Oh yeah.
There's Heyman and Reigns, and this is still when Reigns is being forced.
Correct.
So I got to rewatch this one, but just playing off what I can remember from it, not super fantastic.
The opener, that triple threat intercontinental with Miz, Balor, Rollins, and then Angle, Rousey versus Stephanie and Triple H. Mm-hmm. Definitely the two matches of the night, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I remember Rousey being like
that was her first big match, and Angle's comeback. So that was a pretty big deal.
And I remember being super impressed by her in that, and I don't know where along the rails it seems like she has gotten worse.
Yes.
Because I was super impressed.
This was like her peak, honestly.
Yeah. And when she first shows up, you're like, whoa, look at that.
Yep.
I was like, she's put in the time. She knows what she's doing. She's and then, like I say, obviously she's kind of fallen down the steps a little bit. But yeah, that's what I remember about it, I guess.
I got this next one's going to be, I bet, a little controversial to you. I think you'd have this one a little bit higher.
Probably.
18. The one and only, and that's not talking about Ricochet, but I guess the one and only match, which, again, if you want to talk about a one-match show, this is it. I mean, pretty much The Rock and Hogan, which is such an incredible moment, more than a match. The match is great. The crowd was fucking great. Mm-hmm. But it left Triple H and Chris Jericho in a pretty horrible spot, unfortunately. But nothing you can do about that,
right?
Other than maybe make The Rock and Hogan the main event. But RVD Regal in the opener, nice short match. You know, I'm sure we're both big Regal guys here.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Angle and Kane, I don't really remember too much.
Yeah, I don't remember much about that at all.
Undertaker and Ric Flair in a no DQ match,
yes.
I just don't really. I guess I just haven't really watched this WrestleMania a ton, as a whole. You know, Stone Cold and Scott Hall. I remember it, but I can't tell you anything that happened in it.
Man,
yeah,
that's the giant stunner, man.
Oh, is it that? Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of those WrestleManias that you're not going to point to and be like, yep, nailed it. Like, you got five matches on this card that blow you away, which realistically you probably shouldn't have that amount of matches on the card that blow you away.
Yeah.
I don't remember Maven Goldust.
No.
At a hardcore situation. I remember DDP and Christian.
Yeah.
That was super fun. William Regal and RVD, what an outstanding
great opener.
Styles clash as well.
Yes.
So watching them work together was great. Undertaker and Ric Flair, fantastic. Steve Austin and Hall works for me. You know what I mean? It works for me. You get kind of an interesting an interesting run when you get Austin, and it's like against kind of the NWO, which obviously was the second or third or fucking 18th iteration of the NWO, but it's still interesting to see Steve Austin with the NWO, like in any type of like altercation with them, in my mind at least. And then Rock and Hogan, obviously, it was so good and entertaining. It overshadowed everything else. Now I can tell you that you're a big work rate guy and all that. That match doesn't have unbelievable work rate, right?
But it's the crowd is so it's amazing. And Justin said Rock and Hogan is the number one match I always recommend new wrestling fans to watch. Totally agree with that. I mean, two of the biggest legends ever, and the crowd is boiling hot, and it's great.
The only thing that I never really, so we got Rock and Hogan here, and this would have been, you got to get Austin and Hogan. You know what I mean? Like that's where I was like, boy, they could have had something there as well. But it's a fucking good card. It's a fun watch is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything negative on this. Just obviously Maven and Goldust is a throwaway match, and that's fine, right? You need those. Jazz and Trish Stratus, fine, I guess. Yeah. I don't remember anything about it. Billy and Chuck over the APA, Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys. Four Corners Elimination. I mean, I have to go back and watch that now because I don't know how they walked out of there against APA, the Dudleys and Hardy. But Billy and Chuck were a huge deal for quite a while there. So it's maybe higher on my list for a couple of reasons, but I think you're being fair.
Next, and hopefully we can get through all these. Like I need to leave sooner than later. Maybe we'll break it up. We'll see. But next, number 6, the Ultimate Challenge. Again, this one should maybe be lower. Like as I pull up the card again, there's really not a ton of great shit, but that main event again is one when I had that WrestleMania box set that this was the match that I always went to. And I was a Warrior guy over a Hogan guy. I was a Warrior Macho Man. So I watched that match over and over and over and fucking loved it. Elsewhere, we got I'll just start from the top. Martel, Coco Beware, Demolition, Colossal Connection. I always remember really liking that one with Andre getting stuck in the ropes and Demolition is baby faces here.
And is that where Heenan slaps?
Yes, it is after the match. Yeah, when they had like the little rings that they would come.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, for this one and 3 actually. Bad News Brown versus Roddy Piper. That's when you had Piper with half his body painted black, which I don't know if you're doing that again today. Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire versus Queen Sherry and Randy Savage. Oh, this was Orient Express Rockers. I'm thinking of another match. They had a match at a Royal Rumble that was really good.
Yep.
Doug and Bravo. The Battle of the Twin Towers. Big Boss Man versus Akeem. Rick Rude, Jimmy Snuka. Thoughts on 6?
I mean, that's a lot. It's 15 matches.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of matches there that are less than 10 minutes. Warrior and Hogan going almost 25 minutes blows my mind.
I know.
Like it just throws
22:51.
Crazy to me. Barbarian and Tito, I remember enjoying that. I am not a Sherry guy, so that match for me, the only thing that's awesome is Dusty, pretty much, because I just didn't like that. Sherry is just not for me, man. But Orient Express Rockers, fantastic. DiBiase, Jake, I'm good with it. I'm no problem there. So I mean, all in all, I think pretty fun. I don't remember Rick Rude and Snuka at all, and like looking at the runtime, they went just under 4 minutes. So there's a lot on this card that looks like it's going to be forgettable just because of like the amount of time that they put in the match.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot there.
And it was all building to the main event, of course. You know.
Yeah.
But that's just one I have very, very, very fond memories of growing up.
Yeah.
And next, and I just mentioned it, number 3.
just wait a second. You have number 3 right now?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Where are we on your fucking list? That's what I gotta know.
I'm going from the bottom, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have 15 below this.
Huh.
So it's still on the bottom half, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
Did I fuck up?
Yeah, well, I mean, so
again, hold on, tagline: bigger, badder, better.
Yeah.
Bigger, better, badder. Excuse me. Yeah. Pontiac Silverdome. Announced attendance over 92,000, actual 78,000. I mean, 2-match show. Steamboat Savage, of course, one of the greatest. Mm-hmm. And for this time, an absolute mind blower.
Yep.
And then, of course, Hogan Andre. But outside of that, tell me what makes this so great.
Piper Adonis.
Okay, that was pretty fun.
Piper Adonis, man.
With Jesse on commentary. He's like, that's my old tag team partner. Yeah.
And that is one of the all-time, and this is why I'm apprehensive.
It is a good one.
I am apprehensive about ever doing the spot because of this match, but when he hits the ropes with the object, and then he kind of pauses after he hits the ropes and then hits himself, I'm like, oh, Adrian, come on now, baby. But obviously, one of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever, Steamboat and Savage.
No doubt.
Honky and Jake, I still love that whole feud because they're still fucking feuding over it.
Jake with Alice Cooper in his corner.
Yeah, I mean, $1 billion baby? Is that what it is? Yeah, take it easy. Sheik and Volkov over the Killer Bees. Hell yeah, Killer Bees are, Minnesota-made guys there. Man, Harley Race and JY fucking D. Come on, no, this is, and you're not even halfway through your list. Man, you were on the cheech when you wrote the list. I got you. I'm on to you.
I might have been.
You're like, all right.
It's hard because
3.
There's still a lot of bullshit here.
Where is there bullshit on WrestleMania 3?
Billy Jerk Haynes and Hercules.
So, not a great match, but Billy Jack Haynes looks like $1 million.
Nikolai and the Iron Sheik. No, you just said that. I don't know. Okay, I can't rip on Haiti Kid, Hillbilly Jim, and Little Beaver defeating King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook because I know you love the minis.
Oh yeah, give me some minis, especially Little Beaver.
There's no Beaver. There's no Bataillon here.
Right. Well, no, there's no Bataillon. There's no no Torito. There's Mosaic or Tarantula. But man, this is 3 is definitely in the top portion of this list, should be at least.
Yeah, I may have fucked up.
It's all right. It happens, man. It'll happen again. It's fine.
Next, 35, Kofi Mania. This was one I absolutely adored, that match in that moment, because just for the guy who had been there for so long and always kind of the eternal mid-carder, to truly get that moment, and the match itself was amazing. The crowd was fucking unglued. Just great shit there. Obviously, the main event, historic because it was the women for the first time. Becky defeating Charlotte and Ronda. You had Finn Balor defeat Lashley in 4 minutes for the Intercontinental title. Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle in Kurt's last match, unfortunately. Triple H Batista, Batista's comeback. Decent match. Roman versus Drew, not great. Shane McMahon and The Miz on a Falls Count Anywhere was pretty fun. Usos. This was good. Usos versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Bar. Yeah, what are your thoughts on 35?
Well, my first thought is 3 is fucking way better than this. The first thought that comes to my head, this is the Batista give me what I want, right?
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, and then Baron Corbin losing to Kurt Angle and Kurt Angle's retirement match, like, boy, that really helped fucking Corbin.
He beat him.
That's
More
what
than one. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
It didn't help him. Yeah.
Did that? Yeah, help him? None at all. Reigns and Drew McIntyre, I give a shit less about. Joe versus Mysterio, good match. The fatal 4-way for the women's tag team. Fuck that. Yeah, the Boss and a Hug connection. Sweet. That'll do it for me. Sure. Styles and Orton, I remember enjoying, but yeah. Fuck, man. Three smokes 35.
3's better. All right. Next, I have 37, which was a 2-nighter, which there was some shit on it, but overall, I thought this was a pretty damn good show. This was Bo's first WrestleMania as well, so there's that. Night 1 opened with Lashley and McIntyre, which was pretty damn good. The only shitty match of this night was a women's tag team #1 contender match won by Natalya and Tamina. We had Cesaro and Seth Rollins in a very good match. Mm-hmm. AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a steel cage. Whatever. But then we had Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against John Morrison and The Miz. And, I mean, Bad Bunny obviously impressed everyone. And then the main event there, Bianca Belair defeating Sasha Banks. Another historic but very, very good main event. Night 2, I don't have it up right now. Here we go. That one had the Daniel Bryan Reigns Edge main event that I thought was really good. A horrible opener between Randy Orton and The Fiend, like absolute dog shit there. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeat Natalya and Tamina, but then KO versus Sammy, Sheamus versus Riddle. And then this match wasn't great, but I still enjoyed it because it was just a clusterfuck. The Nigerian drum fight, Apollo Crews and Big E, Rhea Ripley and Asuka, and then that main event, like I mentioned. I just had a blast watching this one. And, after the COVID year, and this is like, as I was kind of starting to get back into WWE a little bit. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think it's better than 3. So what? Fuck off.
So, yeah, right away, it's not better than 3. What was
I love how that's going to be every show here for the next several.
I started thinking about it like 9 was better than 35, by the way. I'm just fucking throwing that one at you.
That's good.
We got, there's not a lot on here that I am like overly excited. I remember Cesaro and Seth Rollins being fucking mind blowing.
Only like 11 and a half minutes, but those boys went to work.
Yeah, I still don't know why the fuck Bad Bunny is popular. Like, I don't know what he does. I don't know if he's
he's a singer, I think, but he's like millions and millions and millions of records sold. Like,
gotcha.
Worldwide. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
didn't know who the fuck he was before this either, but he's like incredibly popular.
Gotcha. I had no idea prior to this, but I remember being surprised.
Yeah. It's like you could tell he put the time in.
Yep. And so the one thing that you said that I have to say I disagree, man, is Orton and The Fiend. So not a great match, right? Not a great match, but it was fucking shocking when it ended as quick as it did. How it ended, all that shit, like the fucking giant box outside of the ring. The fuck is going on? Like, I was going, what is happening right now? So it was a mess, but goddamn did I love it. I was into that match, and what was it? Less than 6 minutes, 5:50.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Got -1 star from Dave Meltzer, FYI.
Oh yeah, well, Dave.
This is a basis of comparison.
Dave Meltzer doesn't even understand the Savio 3-star baseline, so he can.
That's true. I mean, not many do.
He can suck my dick with his butt. So yeah, there's not a ton on here that I'm super horny about, but I do remember Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. We're going to be doing that storyline until the end of time, and I understand that, and it's fine. The steel cage match with Braun and Shane, I didn't much care for, but Cesaro and Seth, man, that's one that you take your time and watch.
Yeah. Next, and this one's maybe bumped up a little irrationally. And Justin has a nice comment here real quick. The fact that was the first major WWE show back in front of a crowd just makes it better by default. So that's another. No, Kevin doesn't agree.
Better than what?
I think maybe he just upped the list a little that bumps it up the list. Which at the time it was an important show for that and exciting and.
Right, but it's not like you take if it was WrestleMania 11, it was their first show back. People aren't like, "Oh my God, do you remember Mania, the first show back? Look how hard
the
I am."
Brothers opened it up.
Right, yeah. I don't buy into that. Sorry, Justin.
Next, I've got WrestleMania 25. Probably, maybe a little overrated by me here, but as I said earlier, this was the show that brought me back into wrestling after 7+ years off. And still to this day, one of my favorite matches of all time, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, number 1 here. Like, that is the match. I would not be sitting here today if it wasn't for that match. Like, that's the one that hooked me back in, and I'm like, wow, this shit is still fucking good. Yeah. But again, in college, watching this with like 8 buddies, had a fucking blast. Maybe not the best show on paper. The main event between Triple H and Orton sucked. The build was hilarious because that's when Orton was like kicking the whole McMahon family in the skull. And like he came in, or Triple H and came into his home in St. Louis, but the match stunk. John Cena versus Edge and Big Show, remembered for Cena lifting both guys up and attitude adjusting them at the same time.
Yeah.
Mysterio defeat JBL in 21 seconds to retire him, I thought was fucking hilarious.
Of course.
He's like, I'm done, I quit.
Yep.
Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, pretty good. It was a nice build, pretty solid match. I loved Jericho versus the Legends. I thought this whole build was great. And then the after with Mickey Rourke, who was in The Wrestler. It was Jericho defeating Snuka, Steamboat, and Piper. And then Jericho and Steamboat had a singles match the next pay-per-view, and Steamboat looked pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
The opener was Money in the Bank, which CM Punk won, which at the time, he was like one of my favorite guys. Now, fuck CM Punk. And then who could forget the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal, won by Santina Marella. But this, like I said, this show will always just have a special place in my heart for the one that truly got my hooks back into wrestling, specifically Undertaker Shawn. But your thoughts on 25?
Undertaker Shawn is incredible. It's an outstanding match. I'm with you on that. Having Santino win the Miss Battle Royal was fucking amazing. I have no recollection of Hardy versus Hardy in Extreme Rules, so that maybe it was amazing. I just don't recall it.
It's good. It's good, not great, but it's good.
Okay. Triple H and Randy Orton. Again, not a lot to recall there, but Mysterio Bradshaw. It's so good, man, and he is one of those guys who he got worse in ring as his career went on. Like in ring, he just got worse, but his character got so much better. It kind of like he hit a good medium for himself and ran with it. And
what I wish he was doing right now is ride again.
Yeah, bring back the Blackjacks. That'd be great. I think one of them might be passed though. So. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Next is 23. All Grown Up. And as I mentioned to you, this is probably the one I've seen the least, and I wasn't following at the time, but it's still a pretty good show. And it is like, I remember the Cena Michaels main event being really good.
I actually just watched that main event this morning.
I want to watch it. Like, I think I've only seen that match. I've probably only seen this show top to bottom one time.
Okay.
And I remember that match being really, really good. Undertaker versus Batista in the middle of the card for the World Heavyweight, damn good. Mr. Kennedy wins the Money in the Bank, very good. Great Khali versus Kane. Benoit MVP in Benoit's final WrestleMania. Of course, we have Lashley with Donald Trump defeating Umaga with Vince McMahon in the hair versus hair match. Melina versus Ashley in a lumberjack match. But yeah, your thoughts on 20? Like, this was one that, like, I feel like the show itself is pretty damn good, but I just don't have too much, tied to it. So maybe I overrated it a little bit, but it's a good show for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you overrated it for sure. There's not like there's no way around that. I mean, Lashley versus Umaga, to me at least, is a toss. Taker, but Batista, I don't. That was when Batista was doing that weird thing with no entrance music. Was it that point he was doing no entrance music and just the spotlight?
I just remember that being a really good match the one time I saw it. But
gotcha. Benoit matches are always good. Khali and Kane is trash. Money in the Bank ladder match is just. I mean, I wish they still had that just exclusive as a WrestleMania match.
I agree. It was so awesome on WrestleMania. Totally agree.
The ECW originals versus the ECW New Breed. Now, not going to be on anybody's list of all-time classics, but for me, yes, I loved it. Being able to see RVD, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, and the Sandman on that stage. Yep, I'm in. Like,
Justin disagrees with you again. 23 is, in my opinion, one of the best WrestleManias WWE has had. So maybe I didn't overrate it.
I think you and Justin might both be on the cheech.
Maybe we should take a Tang break together.
Yeah, maybe you should, man. Maybe you should. I'll tell you this: 3 better.
And he says Batista still had his full entry. Justin, if you want to know something, Justin will tell you.
So it must be a couple years later than when he started doing the spotlight entrance gimmick. But
I do remember that.
Yeah. So again, I watched the main event this morning of this WrestleMania with what was it? Cena showed up in like a car. Do you remember that? And like drove through the glass. So like that was kind of cool. Yeah. And the main event was enjoyable. Obviously, Michaels kind of worked a little bit of heel, which was kind of nice for this. But 3 was better. It's fine.
You're probably right.
I'd probably rather watch 9 too, to be honest with you.
Next, I have WrestleMania 2000, a McMahon in every corner, also known as WrestleMania 16. Again, maybe a show that's not quite as good as the time. And maybe you don't like that main event, and it is a fucking shit show, but I love it's great. Like, that was Attitude Era at its finest, in my opinion. The 3-way ladder match, not TLC yet, but Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, this kind of kicked off that legendary rivalry. Yeah, I probably overrated this one. There's some shit on here. Bull Buchanan and the Boss Man defeat D-Lo and the Godfather. TNA versus Head Cheese.
Yep.
Terry versus the Cat. China, and I overrated this one.
I was gonna say, but you're putting this ahead of fucking 3 and 9. You are wrong. And it opens with goddamn Ice Train coming out. And I don't know if he ever raps, but the only thing that's burned into my brain about this event specifically, like all the rest of the matches, like perfect, like that's fine, they're there. But the thing that is just charred into my memory is Ice-T during the Godfather D'Lo's Brown entrance. He just goes, pimpin' ain't easy, man. Pimpin' ain't easy, man. Pimpin' ain't easy, man. And that's all he says. It's like he's like the fucking record is caught. Pimpin' ain't easy, man. Pimpin'. I'm like, oh man, just blows me away. The Intercontinental title match I remember enjoying, and then the China and Too Cool against the Radicals. But outside of that, yeah, this is not good. The Fatal 4-Way elimination match for the title, I remember enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a fun clusterfuck, you know.
And the hardcore battle royal was just fucking something else.
Yeah.
So that was.
So they had Intercontinental and European titles back to back, and I thought this was really cool because Kurt Angle was both champions, and he lost both belts, and they were both Chris Benoit versus Jericho versus Angle, and he lost them both back to back. I always enjoyed that because this is when Kurt Angle was really coming into his own for sure. So. Yeah, I probably overrated this one. But again, this was just that time when I was such a big fan still. And
it holds more nostalgia value than it does actual value.
For sure. We're getting up there now. We'll have to let's try and blow through the rest of these in like a half hour. Next, 13, which has the best WrestleMania match of all time, the best WWE match of all time, in my opinion.
Okay.
Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Perfection. with Ken Shamrock as a special guest referee, the most perfectly executed double turn in the history of wrestling.
Mhm.
Skyrocketed Stone Cold into being one of, if not the biggest stars of all time. Unfortunately, we know where Bret Hart went after all this, but god damn it, it is an absolute fucking masterpiece. Yeah, the whole show, maybe not the greatest, but that match alone makes it deserve to be in the top half. I love the first off, the name is just Heat for this, which is pretty lame. But I always loved the next match too. With like, how are you going to come back from that? A Chicago street fight with Ahmed Johnson and LOD defeating the Nation. They literally brought out the kitchen sink in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just a very fun match. Ends with Undertaker Psycho Sid. Maybe not the greatest match in the world, but still a cool moment for the Undertaker, like getting his first like true taste of WWE Championship gold. This is just always one that I look back on super fondly. The Sultan versus Rocky Maivia. Again, not a good match, but just one that I just always remember.
Mm-hmm.
The Headbangers defeating your boys, for real, Doug Furnas and Philip LaFon, the Godwins, and the new Blackjack's going to ride again. Triple H versus Goldust, Owen Hart and Bulldog versus Mankind and Vader. Fun fucking show here.
Yeah, the opening match was fun. I love when the 4-0 Edge is elimination. I don't think it should ever be first fall to a finish. And having the bangers win it was surprising. Obviously, Bob Backlund, and Sheik with the Sultan, Rocky Maivia. That's Maivia's first Mania, so that's kind of a big deal. Helmsley over Goldust, not much to write home about. Owen Hart and Bulldog versus Mankind and Vader was kind of a cluster, but what I did enjoy about that match is when Owen and Vader were working together, because I really think that they could have done more with each other if they wanted to run a program with those two. Unfortunately, we never saw it. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is going to be a controversial opinion, and that's fine. The match itself is entertaining. The finish is one of the best finishes that anybody can ever remember. They had a match, I think it was at the following pay-per-view from this, but the match itself from that event is better.
You're just wrong.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a good match.
I think the quality of wrestling in that match is better than their match at Mania, but the finish at Mania is just untouchable. So I think that's why it's up there.
Fair. I'm not going to get too upset about it.
Yeah.
But you're wrong, big time.
That's fine. You can.
I just think the feeling that match cultivated from even before the bell all through, like just nonstop urgency, intensity. It never stops. They brawl through the crowd. Anywho, I'm obviously not going to change your mind, but their Survivor Series 96 match also unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Those two could have worked together for forever.
Yeah. But yeah, great shit. Next, and this is another one that's just kind of always had a soft spot in my heart for no real reason, is number 7. This was just the one like growing up, and even today, that I feel like I can just put that one on. And I'm still pulling up the card here. Here we go. Superstars and Stripes Forever. This one was famously supposed to be at the Rose Bowl and had to move to the LA Sports Arena due to poor ticket sales. This was the one. Okay, the Rockers defeat the Haku and the Barbarian to open the show here. Really, really good match. Texas Tornado versus Dino Bravo. Fun little 3-minute match. Bulldog versus Warlord's good. And then I've always loved this. The Nasties defeating the Hart Foundation for the tag titles with the use of Jimmy Hart's like motorcycle helmet. Jake Roberts and Rick Martel in a blindfold match. It sucks, but it's really funny and just
super entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. Fun to watch. Undertaker Snuka, he deposits him pretty quickly. And then this is one I mentioned earlier. These were my 2 favorite guys in this era. The career-ending match, Ultimate Warrior versus Savage. Fucking phenomenal shit. No, you don't think so? I love this match.
I fucking hate in wrestling, retirement match. It's always a retirement match.
I understand.
Right? And that's the part for me that I can't stand. I understand the angle of it, but if you are going to put somebody in a retirement match, have the guy whose career's on the line always win, because the career's just never fucking over.
And we'll be getting to another one of those here shortly as well. But again, as a kid, like just watching that match over and over, I just fucking loved it. We had Virgil versus Ted DiBiase finally. The main event, Hogan and Slaughter, is not great by any means, but it's fine. I just
The
I know I overrated this one personally, but I just have always really, really enjoyed this show for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's definitely some nostalgia value to it, and they packed a lot into, like, there was a lot packed into this show. The one thing that threw me off about it was, do they not? They switch announce teams, or at least color guys, right, throughout the card.
Isn't Piper in it? Like, I feel like he's on it at one point, maybe.
Oh, here we go. It's Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Then we got Jim Duggins in the booth.
Oh, Lord Alfred and Regis Philbin
for the main event. Regis Philbin is in the booth. So it was fun. I remember it being a fantastic build, and the storyline and all that kind of stuff. Like, what Slaughter did, like, he was getting death threats. Like, that's fucking awesome. Way to commit to the bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know that you necessarily overrated this one. Like, this one hits me pretty good in the nostalgia feels as well. I just, that retirement match bullshit, it always just drags me down.
Yeah, I hear you. God damn it. Next is 22, which I mentioned earlier. I just rewatched most of that show pretty recently, but was one I wasn't super duper familiar with. The tagline is "Big Time," which is that stupid song. I'm clicking it here, and yet it's not opening. Let's see. Open a new tab. My internet's being super slow, but
hold on, I'm almost there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I got you, baby boy. You said 22.
22.
I don't know if you're going to be right on this one, but we'll see. Isn't that Booker and, hold on, almost there? Yeah, Booker and Cena. So the card on that one, you have Big Show and Kane over Carlito and Chris Masters for the tag team straps. RVD won the Money in the Bank. Layfield versus Benoit. Layfield wins. Edge versus Mick. Oh, that was
incredible.
That was something else.
Incredible, yeah.
Boogeyman over Booker T and Sharmell.
It was hilarious. I just watched it.
Mickey James and Trish Stratus, always going to be good.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah, talk about eating a cheeseburger off your boner. Watch that match. Undertaker defeated Mark Henry casket match. McMahon versus Michaels.
Awesome.
That was when he came down from the.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty good. Mysterio defeated Kurt Angle and Randy Orton in the triple threat.
Under 10 minutes, but amazing match.
Yep. Playboy pillow fight.
Who's going to say no? Yeah.
Yeah. And, John Cena and Triple H.
Yeah. It's a very good show. Like, I would have not ranked it this high had I not watched 2/3 of it this week, but it's very, very good.
Yeah. The only thing that, like, throws me off is, why is Booker T and John Cena? Why is that the cover?
Yeah, and they're not even in a match together. Yeah, it's
no.
Booker T and Sharmell versus the Boogeyman, which is like a comedy match.
Yep, and so that's and I couldn't stand Sharmell and King Booker. So, but yeah, this is not bad, man.
It's a quality show.
Yeah, absolutely. Ric Flair in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, dude, it was wild. Yep. Yeah, I'm like, I don't even remember this at all. And RVD was perfect for that. Like. He was awesome. Okay, 26. Get all fired up here. So this was basically me a year into being a fan again. So this was kind of a culmination of a year long of fandom. We had Michaels Undertaker 2. Amazing again. Not quite as good as the first one, but they let it main event this time. Cena and Batista in the semi-main, which Justin said this earlier, that 26 was Spotlight Batista, and I do remember that now. We had Jericho versus Edge in a really good match as well for the world title. This was Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. Say what you will about it. Satisfying as fuck. I know it was a mess, but it was a very cool moment for sure. Mysterio CM Punk, good 6.5 minute match. I remember Triple H and Sheamus being entertaining. Jack Swagger wins the Money in the Bank. And I remember at the time, live, he could not fucking get that belt down at all. They've since edited that footage in Peacock, so it's pretty quick. But I just remember he could not pull it down. Orton versus Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase, so that was the legacy breaking up, and it opened with The Miz and Big Show defeating John Morrison and R-Truth, but just a rock-solid show top to bottom here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't H and Sheamus doesn't do anything for me. It just doesn't. The 10 Diva tag match doesn't do shit for me. I didn't like Cena and I didn't care for Batista at this time. Like, I remember watching this card, and there was definitely times where back then I was a cigarette smoker. Yeah. I'd be like, fuck, I'm gonna go have a smoke. Like, there was just so much in this. The Money in the Bank ladder match, fun. Bret Hart versus McMahon, again, sure, it sucked, but guess what? I fucking love it.
Exactly. Me too.
Love it. And then obviously Taker and Shawn. It's Taker and Shawn, man. It's always going to be entertaining.
And I'm glad they put it on last there. And Shawn almost really did retire after that, and really did for the longest time till that
match.
That Saudi money came calling.
Yeah, well, man, if that money came calling for me, I'd unretire too. So.
Yeah, you want $5 million? Sure.
Yeah.
Next, I've got 28, Once in a Lifetime, Miami. This was The Rock and Cena in the main event. This was that Undertaker Triple H Hell in a Cell mentioned earlier. CM Punk Chris Jericho. Opened with the shock of Sheamus beating Daniel Bryan for the world title in 18 seconds.
That's right, yeah.
And why I have very fond memories of this was when I was working for the Atlanta Braves, and I was living in Orlando for spring training for like 40 days, and this was during WrestleMania. It's like, well, I guess I'll find like a restaurant, like a place like a Hooters or whatever that would show it. And I found a spot, and I was alone. And because like they put all like the singles together. So I was just with like 3 random ass fucking wrestling fans. Felt like we were the mutants at table 9 from Wedding Singer. Just like a ragtag, you're just watching wrestling with wrestling fans.
Yeah.
It was a fucking blast. So like, again, this was just one that I just have so much positive memories about. Yeah. And that Undertaker Triple H Hell in a Cell is incredible shit for sure. And Rock Cena was great. It went 30 minutes, but I think it definitely, lived up to the billing.
Yeah, I think Rock Cena is fantastic. I still, Jericho Punk should have went on last there. I don't
probably, but they were building it for a year, so
yeah,
it makes sense.
Taker and H, obvious. I mean, that's a big time. And then the shocker of Sheamus and Bryan was huge. So
I was pissed about it, but like it was a good thing to do, I think.
Yeah, the 12-man tag match to determine the GM of Raw.
Oh yeah, Team Johnny.
Pass. Like, that's a big pass for me. But all in all, like, not a bad. This is Kelly and Maria Menounos. So Kelly, that's a ripe tomato there. So it's
the woman so nice they named her twice.
Right? Yeah. Get
a ripe tomato.
Expose going on there. But yeah, it was it's a good Mania. It's a fun one to watch.
Next one, the only one I've attended. Number 33, the Ultimate Thrill Ride. Main evented with Roman versus Taker. Not a good match. On paper, this maybe isn't one of the best, but the fact I was there, and it's the only one I've attended, I'm going to rank it higher. But
right.
The opener with AJ versus Shane McMahon might have been the best match of the night. It was really good. KO versus Jericho, I'll always remember for KO getting a rope break by using one finger to touch the rope. Bayley, Charlotte, Nia, Sasha, fatal 4-way elimination, solid. But the moment of the night was the Hardy Boys' shock return and 70,000 people going bonkers. Like, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. And I'm not like the biggest Hardys fan, but when you're there with 70,000 fucking people losing their minds, like, something I will never, ever forget, just that feeling. When that music hit, because everyone thought it was going to be the New Day because they were like the hosts of WrestleMania that year.
Right.
It was Enzo and Cass, Cesaro and Sheamus, and Anderson and Gallows, and the 4th team was a mystery. And then the music hits, and everyone loses their fucking mind. I didn't know what Delete was at that time.
Okay.
Because I didn't watch Ring of Honor or Impact much back then, so everyone's doing the Delete. I'm like, what is going on here? But it was, again, just one of those special moments for me personally. John Cena and Nikki Bella versus Maurice and Miz. That was the engagement match.
Yeah.
We saw how that went. Rollins Triple H in an unsanctioned match, 25-50. I remember this being good, not great, but still pretty good. And then some of the biggest cheers of the night came from me during Lesnar and Goldberg, because fuck Goldberg. And I was so mad that they had him come back and beat Kevin Owens for the belt in like 30 seconds when Kevin Owens was by far my favorite guy in WWE at this time. Still is, frankly.
Yeah.
And they had him fucking job out after an incredible title run to Goldberg. So I was in total fuck Goldberg mode. I'm not even a Lesnar guy, but I couldn't have been further for Lesnar. And the match was 4 minutes, 45 seconds. I think it was exactly what it needed to be with those two guys. Orton and Wyatt fucking sucked. That's when they had like the big bugs on the screen and shit. Do you remember, like, they like turned the ring into fucking awful. The build to the match was good when Orton like burned down the cabin and one of the I remember the build was amazing. The match fucking sucked. Hey Justin, 33 has one of the most forgotten really good matches. AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. That's right. It was the opener. Damn good opener. But yeah, what are your thoughts on 33?
So this might be maybe not a controversial take, but on the pre-show, they had Neville and Aries.
Great match, yes.
And you know how they've never really had success establishing the cruiserweight division or title? This was an opportunity for them to do that. Yeah. But they put it as the first match on the pre-show, which that's always been my big, like, top to bottom, very good card. Like, there's not anything that you really point to and go, well, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, everything, there was a reason for everything on the card. But not having Neville and Aries, and I'm looking at it here, and they also had the IC title was on the pre-show as well.
Yeah, it was Ambrose and Corbin, right? And then we had, that was when Rob Gronkowski came out of the crowd as well. Like, the pre-show was awesome.
Yeah, the pre-show was lights out, but I really wish they would have put Neville and Aries in a more prominent role, because I think that they could have had a really good program together. No doubt. Would have maybe been able to establish that cruiserweight title. But yeah, I mean, fun card. This is one of those cards. Al tells a story about when the Hardys came back, and he started screaming, and his wife thought something was wrong.
Yeah, very, very fun times. Next, I have WrestleMania 20, where it all begins again. I would say one of the best main events ever, with Benoit, Michaels, Triple H, triple threat. Unbelievable. Kurt and Eddie, great fucking match with an Undertaker Kane squeezed in between. Opens with Cena Big Show. This is MSG as well for number 20 again. I remember it was Cena's first singles title win. Maybe not, but anyway, Christian versus Chris Jericho, very good match here. Evolution versus the Rock and Sock Connection. Just a lot of good shit on this card. I mean, yeah, there's some throw. Goldberg Lesnar was a mess with Stone Cold as the ref, but yeah, just a damn good show here.
Yeah, it absolutely is. WrestleMania 20, they did a fantastic job. Edge and Christian, I think, is probably a little bit underrated as far as a match goes.
I mean, Jericho and Christian.
Jericho, yes.
And I remember like Trish was pretty integrated into this storyline as well. Like, which way will she go? And
yeah, the Fatal 4-Way. You know, Van Dam and Booker T as a team never really did much for me. So there's that. I always thought that La Resistance was going to be around a little bit longer than they were. Victoria versus Molly Holly, hair versus hair. I don't like the hair versus hair, but Molly Holly is such a fucking pro. So that's pretty high up there for me. But yeah, if you look at like what the important matches are here, it's Eddie and Kurt, and it's Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and that triple threat.
They both delivered in spades. All right, we got to keep it moving here. Next one is 38, last year. I thought it was fucking great. Both main events, excellent. I mean, Stone Cold coming back was just incredible and so well done. Sami Zayn and the Johnny Knoxville thing was awesome. This was before I got fully back into WWE, because it took Vince retiring for me to get really back in. But Cody Seth, excellent. Bianca Becky, excellent. Logan Paul's debut, excellent. Hell, even the opener, Usos versus Boogs and Nakamura, was onto something, and then Boogs blew out his knee.
Yeah.
Hell, McIntyre Corbin, 8.5 minutes, fine match. Honestly, this was just night one. The only match that was a letdown was Charlotte and Rousey, which no real surprise there. Trying to pull up night 2 here. As I'm doing that, what were your thoughts on last year's Mania?
So for me, it was the first Mania in a long time that I actually got the goosebumps.
Yeah.
And it was for one reason, and it was Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I love Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is a fucking gem. The guy's a goddamn national treasure. As far as storytelling in the ring and outside of the ring, I mean, there's very few that can fucking touch him. Very few. And I didn't know for sure. That was the best part about it. I didn't know for sure if he was going to show up or not.
Yep.
Right? Because it was a secret still, and there were people
Correct.
reporting on it, but you never really. They did such a good job of making sure the cat wasn't out of the bag. And then that fucking pussy jumped out of the bag, and I was yelling.
And They did not make you wait either. I remember it's like the moment Seth comes out, and they didn't. It was just boom, wrestling with more than one royal family.
When I heard that, I fucking lost it. Like I'm
incredible moment.
I watched the event by myself in my basement on my giant fucking TV, and I'm sitting there, and that happened, and I was standing up, going, "What is going on?" Like my wife walked downstairs to where I was going, "What's happening?" I was like, you have no idea. Like this is blowing me away. So yeah, that was for me the 38. That was the moment, and I enjoyed it so much.
That night one was so fucking good. Like I said, Bianca Becky I thought was an incredible match, and then the Stone Cold main event. I was wrong. The second main event stunk. It was Roman Lesnar again. Didn't like that match. The Pat McAfee Austin Theory match was excellent. Now the Pat McAfee Vince McMahon match sucked, but we got the moment with Stone Cold, so that made up for it. Edge and AJ Styles was 25 minutes, but just a solidly worked match for sure. The opener of night 2, RK Bro defeating Alpha Academy and Street Profits. Great fucking match. So yeah, great stuff. We are to the top 9, and let's just do this in pairs this time because I do got to get going.
I was going to say, you got to get out of here, man.
21 and 24 are
okay.
So this would be 8th and 9th ranked. 21 obviously carried by Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. One of the best fucking WrestleMania matches. Main event, I believe, was Triple H or Batista beating Triple H. This was like after Evolution had broke up. Let's see. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. 21. Mysterio Eddie opened the show. Not going to be mad about that.
No.
Edge wins the first Money in the Bank. Very good. Undertaker Orton. Like I said, Kurt Shawn. Aki Bono versus The Big Show in a sumo match. Cena, JBL, and Batista Triple H. But this was the first half of this, especially through Angle and Michaels, phenomenal.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Aki Bono was kind of fun to watch, but the effort to put into setting that up and all that, I don't know that it was worth it.
Yeah.
Mysterio and Guerrero, always can watch them, no issues at all. But Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels was lights out.
Incredible. 24. So this was the year before I started watching. I remember I rented this DVD from the library, and I'm like, this is fucking great. Obviously, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair in a fake retirement match, but, one that everyone remembers for the I'm sorry, I love you. But in the moment, fantastic match. I loved the opener, the Belfast Brawl with JBL and Finlay.
Yeah.
CM Punk winning Money in the Bank. Batista, Umaga, whatever. Kane beat Chavo in 10 seconds. Lumberjack, women's tag, whatever. Triple threat, Orton, Cena, Triple H. Obviously, they would always have a lot to do with one another, but a solid match. Hell, Floyd Mayweather versus The Big Show. As far as celebrity stuff, pretty good. And then Undertaker and Edge in the main event had one hell of a match.
Yeah, Taker Edge is great. this is not as good as WrestleMania 12 or WrestleMania 9 or WrestleMania 3. It's just not. Playboy Bunny Lumberjill match. Yeah, okay, I gotta get behind you there.
Yeah, a couple of right tomatoes there.
I'm all right, but yeah, for me, the one thing that this card is Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair in the retirement match.
Yeah, and I'm a sucker. I guess I'm a bit of a sucker for like outdoor shit.
Yeah.
Because this was an outdoor one.
Yeah, so was WrestleMania 9.
They start. Well, so is the next one, 31. I guess daytime as well. I love when there's light, like sunlight, and then it kind of goes to darkness throughout the show. Okay. 31 definitely remembered for Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank during the main event, which was by far the best shit Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns have ever done. Yes, that includes SummerSlam of last year. This was it. And Rollins shockingly cashing in Money in the Bank is one of the greatest WrestleMania moments ever. Period. Done. Yeah. Opener with Danielson winning a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. I don't even have the card up here, but this was Sting and Triple H, which was very fun, because we had DX versus NWO. Was it Cena or Rusev came out in a tank?
Rusev came out in a tank, yes.
Yeah. Just a very, very fun show here.
Great show. So on the pre-show, Mizdow was eliminated by Show to win. I was hoping Mizdow would win. That ladder match was amazing. The finish to Orton and Rollins was outstanding. Triple H versus Sting, fun. Like it was super fun. I wish Sting would have won that match, and I'm not a Sting guy by any stretch, but I wish he would have won there. Stinger. Cena Rusev was great for what it was. Taker Bray, sign me up, and then the main event you already covered was outstanding.
Great show. Now we're getting really to the nitty gritty. Top 6, WrestleMania 8. I mentioned it earlier. Just so many, Ric Flair's blood in that match to Macho Man, again, is a reason I'm sitting here today. Like, I was just into my wrestling watching. We rented it from Blockbuster. It was me and my brother and his friends. They were all a few years older. I was privileged to be able to get to hang out with them and watch it, and just mind fucking blown. And not to mention Piper and Hart. Earlier on in the card had some blood as well. Mm-hmm. The whole moment with Roddy, am I going to use the bell or not? The interview beforehand where he's talking about
the bologna sandwiches. Of course, there was only one piece of bologna.
But that's okay.
So I love this card. Tito and Sean was great.
El Matador.
Piper and Hart, obviously, but the throwaway stuff on this card is pretty big throwaway stuff.
Yeah.
Hart and Skinner, the tag team title match, what was the other one? The 8-man tag.
Yeah.
They got the what's his name from Family Feud out there. Fuck that
Ray
guy.
Combs.
Yeah, Ray Combs.
You're right. The highs were very high here, and the lows were very
low. Yeah.
And then the main event, which was, I remember Al said it was the match that he could watch over and over and over.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's not the best match in the world, but it's a ton of fun. You have Papa Shango first coming out, then the Warriors. So very fun show. Top 5. Number 14 and number 10. So 14 was my first WrestleMania watching live as a fan in 1998. Stone Cold's first title win, obviously, over Michaels. Not the greatest match in the world, but the moment with fucking Mike Tyson knocking out Michaels after he'd been a part of DX. Tyson! The first Kane versus Undertaker match, which took 3 tombstones to put him away. This, for me, is just the heart of my wrestling fandom, is number 14.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
This is pure nostalgia for me. Is this one pure nostalgia?
Yeah, and that's
Taka versus Aguila.
Yeah, Aguila's pretty fucking rad.
Triple H and Hart, Cactus and Chainsaw versus the New Age Outlaws in the dumpster match was so much fun.
Yeah, The
Rock swindling Ken Shamrock by having the brass knucks in his trunk and actually getting the ref to DQ him.
Yeah,
Mero and Sable versus Luna and Tafka Goldust.
Well,
Not Taff Cappy.
Yeah, pretty close though. Pretty close to Taff Cappy. So this is a fun WrestleMania. The tag team battle royal was awesome for a lot of reasons. Sonny in that LOD garb is A-OK with me.
Yeah.
Austin Michaels was exactly what it needed to be. So was Taker Kane. The dumpster match doesn't really hold up.
I still love it. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a.
I was just a bit Chainsaw Charlie. It was just so classic.
Yeah. This was a good Mania. It's not as good as 3, but it's good.
All right. Top 4. Number 4. Number 10. I think I mentioned already 10.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the best matches in WrestleMania history. The opener with Owen and Brett, and then the ladder match with Razor and Shawn. And I mentioned earlier the triumph of Bret Hart after losing the opening match to come out and beat Yokozuna. He's lifted up by the whole locker room, and Owen's just like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that storyline continued through the summer into the amazing cage match at SummerSlam. But even the bad stuff here, I didn't mind. Your boy Crush getting hung or suspended, and Macho Man getting the
that was so fucking bad.
Doink and Dink versus Bam Bam and Luna.
Hilarious.
All this to me is just positive memories.
Yeah.
Men on a Mission versus the Quebecers, whatever, but the Quebecers are fucking great. We know that. Yoko and Lex, great because fucking Mr. Perfect screwed Lex.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Hey, fucking, you screwed me. Yeah, it's so.
But it's a 2-match show, but god damn it, those 2 matches are fucking great.
So I don't know if it is a 2-match show, just simply because, like I said before, wrestling's a variety show, and this is a true variety for a WrestleMania, especially given the era, because you had your hardcore stuff. You had your comedy stuff, you had your story stuff, you had your true wrestling stuff. So like this top to bottom is definitely like it's high ranking, and I'm glad that you have it highly ranked.
Number 3 is 19. Dare to Dream. Main event is Lesnar and Kurt Angle. Unbelievable. The Rock and Stone Cold in Stone Cold's final match. Hogan, Vince McMahon in a street fight. So that's the top 3. Not to mention Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho slapped right in the middle of the card and might be the best match on the show. Mm-hmm. The opener between Matt Hardy version 1 and Mysterio was fun. Team Angle versus Benoit, Rhino, Los Guerreros. Triple H, Booker T, definitely a bit of a disappointment, but thought it was really cool in Safeco Field as well. But this is a home run. It's a great fucking WrestleMania.
So this might disappoint you. I've never been able to sit through this entire card in one sitting. Wow. And I don't know where it is. I think that the opening of it loses me. I wasn't big on Mysterio Hardy. Taker against Show and A-Train.
It definitely takes a bit. This is one where like the back end is just incredible. But yeah, I don't disagree.
It's completely stacked on the ass end of it, which is fine, but it is hard to get it. The tag team match was good.
If you start with the tag team match and go from there, just top notch shit.
And if you do that, you don't have to listen to fucking Limp Bizkit. So that's probably what it is. It's Limp Bizkit that throws me right the fuck out.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up. Top 2, 30, and the best one is no doubt 17. I mean, if you come at me, tell me I'm wrong here, because I'm not. 17 is the best. Okay. It's got everything and so many great matches. I mean, the Stone Cold turn.
Yep.
Unbelievable. TLC. Undertaker, Triple H. I don't even have the card up. Regal, Jericho to open it. Jericho pissing in his tea.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a good one. It's a good one.
The tagline, Houston, ... we have a problem.
The tagline should have been, it's a good one.
Man.
TLC, I'm there for.
Shane versus Vince with Linda cracking out of her vegetable.
Yeah, well, she should have stayed.
The gimmick battle royal.
The gimmick battle royal, I will buy every day.
Yeah,
I'm in on the gimmick
the
battle
Kane
royal.
Raven Big Show triple threat hardcore match is fucking great.
That was one of the better hardcore matches I can ever remember.
Angle versus Benoit just plopped right in the middle of the card. This is the best one.
You'll sell me on Angle Benoit big time. You're not going to sell me on Guerrero tests.
That's fine.
You're just not.
That's fine.
6-man tag. I love Taz, and I thought Taz and APA could have been something very entertaining. Taker Triple H, I remember being very good. Yeah, I mean, all in all, it's a pretty outstanding. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
You lose me at China and Ivory because that was
2 minutes.
Horseshit. Didn't need
2 minutes.
Exactly. Put it on the pre-show. Pretty good. It's hard. It's hard to say. Anytime you're talking about wrestling, it's hard to say this is the best.
I know.
Just because it's art, right? It's hard to say this is the best. It falls in your rankings, which is fine. There are some glaring omissions in your top 10. Glaring omissions in your top 10. But I enjoy your list. It's okay. It's some glaring omissions, though.
Let's touch on 30 real quick, which was my number 2. Obviously, the Daniel Bryan Wrestlemania, the opener against Triple H, unbelievable match. And then he comes back to beat Orton and Batista in the main event. Cesaro winning the first Andre the Giant Battle Royal was really good. Cena versus Bray Wyatt was very solid. We had Brock beating the streak, which I think we both kind of disagree that shouldn't have happened. Divas title, invitational, whatever. But this was all about Daniel Bryan. And just in the moment, it was just so fucking good. But to wrap this up, what do you have one that you would put above the rest as your number 1? Is it number 3?
That's so hard to say, man, because you almost have to break them down into eras.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's hard to say.
Give me a top 3. Off the cuff. What are your 3 favorites?
Off the cuff, 3, 10, and that's where I get that. See, that's where it starts to get dicey because there's so many good ones. Yeah. 3, 10, 4 might be there. Wow. I really liked last year's, so 38 might be in there. 25 might be like it's hard once you get past those 2 for me. It's just it's so tough. 30 was a lot of fun. You can't talk about 30 without the Silver Dome because that was so entertaining.
So happy to be back here in the Silver Dome, brother. Silver Dome.
And again, that I hated that the streak ended, but they gave me a shocking moment.
Yeah.
And I love when I'm surprised. I love when they shock me. So 30's up there. Like it's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough. Like you ranked them. You put it. It
was very tough. And like I said, I'm gonna have to kind of revisit these now, and I'll probably put out like a full list sometime next week. But
I look forward to seeing WrestleMania 9 in your top 10.
But I do have to get going. I am running a little behind, but this was fucking awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, man.
Being the inaugural guest on the Loaf Lounge.
Woohoo! Loafing it. Yeah.
But real quick, tell the people where they can find you.
I am on at GBW Pods on Twitter, at Year of Pod, at TOTS Pod, Facebook Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast, Instagram Gorilla Brain Wrestling Podcast, live every Monday night on the Shining Wizards Podcast. I'm kind of a fucking.
You're everywhere.
I'm a goddamn pod slut, is what
You're
I
a whore.
So I spread them open and then slide one in there. So wherever I need to be, I'll be there. So.
And Justin, thank you so much for tuning in, man. Really, really appreciate it. And
Justin, go watch WrestleMania 9 for me, bud.
But yeah, Kevin, thank you again. This was fucking awesome. Now I'm gonna go be a part of a wrestling show. So,
attaboy, give him hell, brother.
Woo! Ending this.